Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with my first share for the Uniquely Creative Kit Club. I got their February kit to create with. It is called the Story Garden and it is absolutely stunning. I have created 4 layouts that I'll be sharing with you over the coming weeks. I apologize for the lateness of these videos. I have just had a lot on my plate and I'm only just now getting a chance to find some time to edit them. So hopefully it won't be too much longer for the rest. But anyway, in the meantime, here's the first one. I have used that geometric 12 by 12 pattern paper to start building my background. I've started with a white cardstock sheet, a 12 by 12 sheet, and I'm just going through with that geometric background and cutting out a bunch of squares and triangles. And I've just brought my photo in. This is the photo I'm using of my son. And I am just kind of auditioning these on the page, just kind of plonking them down randomly. I know I want some kind of little geometric shape going on in the background there. I just didn't quite know what I wanted. I couldn't quite picture it in my mind, so I'm just moving things around until I get the right color and pattern combination that I am looking for. And once I have it, you can see there my phone. I took a quick photo because then I moved everything off the page. I distressed all the edges of those triangles and squares, and now some of them I'm going to go through and stitch. So this square, you can see I've pierced holes around the border of it using my awl and my piercing mat, and they're about a 1/4 inch apart, or about 5 millimeters apart, those holes. And I'm using the thread that came with the kit. It came with 3 different colors of thread to match all the bits and pieces in the kit. Absolutely beautiful thread. So I think I use all the different thread colors on the 3 shapes that I chose to stitch. You'll see in a minute which ones I chose. And I'm just doing a back stitch. What I'm doing there is just capturing the tail of my thread below my first few stitches, just to keep it nice and neat and tucked away. And then I'm just doing a normal back stitch. So if you're not familiar with the back stitch, you stitch 2 holes ahead and then stitch 1 back. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's a pretty simple stitch. It's the most basic stitch you'll probably learn when you start learning embroidery or even hand sewing clothes. So I'm just doing that all the way around the outside of 3 of the shapes, just to create a little bit of interest and texture and dimension, and because I love stitching. So there you can see I've stitched 2 of the squares and 1 of the triangles. And now I'm just going ahead and sticking them all down. I did distress them off camera. I just used my edge distresser to do that. Just again, creating texture and interest. And I'm just sticking these down with a little bit of tacky glue. And you can see I'm kind of keeping it to the center of the shapes because I want those edges to lift up from the back of the paper slightly. I want that little bit of extra shadow and dimension. So that is all glued down. That is my photo. I've backed it on this 12 by 12 pattern paper. It's the one that's kind of split into 4 quadrants of like aged paper, is what the pattern is. And I popped that up on some dimensional foam, and now I'm just adding a bit of tacky glue, and I will also add some tape just for extra insurance. And it will go right there. Next, I am fussy cutting a bunch of the small foliage pieces from this beautiful pattern paper. It's got a bunch of roses and kind of leaves and padlocks and letters and books and things. I'm mainly going to use the little foliage sprigs, little leaves, and I'm just fussy cutting those out with my tiny scissors. I will also cut out that little love heart padlock that you can see on the paper there. But I will skip to in a minute. I will not make you watch me fussy cut out all those tiny little bits of foliage. I'm just leaving a border, just a small border around the outside of those shapes because they're quite detailed and it just makes it easier to fussy cut them. Okay, so now I'm popping out my title, which is this story time from the wood laser cut wood, and I did snap the S off. That's just me being too heavy-handed and trying to rush it, but it glued on just fine with some tacky glue, good as new, and you can't even see that I broke it off. So all's good that ends well. So now that is pretty much where it'll go. I'll glue it down in a little bit though, when I've decided exactly where I want it to go. And now I'm just using some of the vellum. They're actually album inserts. They go with the 8x10 Uniquely Creative albums. But I love using vellum as layering and for texture, and especially tearing it like this. You can see I am having a bit of trouble. Vellum is notoriously difficult to tear. I know you can use, someone told me once that you can use a very thin paintbrush and do like a line of water where you want to tear it and then tear it. That might be tissue paper now that I'm thinking about it. But I've never actually tried it. So I just kind of just keep going until I get a tear that I'm happy with. And you can see I'm kind of using my edge distresser as well to try and get the texture that I'm looking for. I will get there shortly. That's just about how I want it. So I'm just going to have it peeking out from two sides of my photo like that, and just sticking it down with a little bit of tacky glue. Love that script on that vellum as well. The scripty font is so pretty. All right, so here I'm coming in with my fussy cut bits and pieces and just going to tuck them around the edges of my photo and just move them around until I get them where I like the look of them. Yep, just like that. And then I had to use some of these beautiful little tassels because they're super, super sweet. They're the same colors as the stitching thread that come in this kit. And I think I used one of the pale pink ones and one of the kind of off-white ones. And I'm just popping them there for now. We'll come back to those. In the meantime, I wanted a subtitle of sorts below my main title there. So I'm cutting out one of the little tabs on that cut apart sheet and just cutting off the top part of the tag. So I have a little phrase piece and it will go right below my title there. Now it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing here, but I'm just using some of that extra stitching thread and I am making a loop through the little ring on the tassels. I just want a kind of a thread to hang the tassels from. I didn't want to just glue my tassels down and have them look like they were floating in midair, so I'm just giving them a little rope to hang from, I guess. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of late at night when I'm filming this, so I maybe am a little incoherent. So I know my title's not going to move now, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick it down so it doesn't move while I am mucking around with these tassels. Just a bit of tacky glue, and that glue, those wood pieces stick down really, really nicely with the tacky glue. So here what I'm doing is just squirting a little bit of glue below the edge of my photo there where you can't see, and then using my tweezers to tuck that little thread that I hung my tassels from underneath and into that blob of glue, and that is going to adhere them down nicely. So there we go. I did also go in off camera and add a little bit of glue behind the tassels on the main part of the tassel and glued that straight to the page so it didn't move around for one, and so that it was just a little bit more securely anchored down. And then popping my little padlock up just on a little bit of dimensional foam so it wasn't stuck straight to the background. Now with my leaves, I'm just going to glue them down with tacky glue. I'm just gluing them by the stems at the end there so that the edges and the tips of the leaves will still sit up nicely from the page. So just tucking those back in underneath the photo. Love those foliage pieces. And then the final touch will just be one of these little laser cut wood leaves in with each of my little foliage clusters. And again, I'm just adhering those down with a dab of tacky glue. And that will be my layout finished. I have close-ups coming up at the end of the video, so stick around. If you'd like to go check out the Uniquely Creative Kits, I will leave a link to their website in the description box below. It is not an affiliate link. They did send me the kit to try out and create with, but I am not being compensated in any other way. So the link is just for your information only. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.